DCFempreneur is a community designed to support local area female entrepreneurs. Right now we are based exclusively in DC, but we will be expanding into the Mid-Atlantic region within the next 4 to 6 weeks. So that will be neat expansion growth. But the reason why we are here today is to participate in a brand new program that we curated with the idea that we were taking a few different mastermind components and combining them into one. So taking the in-person component of working in a mastermind, taking the component of the collective experience, meaning that all of the business owners are coming together to share in their experiences, share in the problem solving that they themselves have been through. And some of the things I like to say is that trial and error is the old way of learning, and that the new way of learning is in a format like this. And so that's why Dee Dee is here with us today. So a traditional mastermind is where you're sharing as a collective. The participants are the ones who help each other problem solve. What makes this experience a little bit different, and in my opinion unique, is that the mastermind is coach-led. So Dee Dee is going to be essentially walking us through, step by step, what she used and the program that she designed for herself to earn her first $100,000. So I don't know about you, but I'm really wanting to earn $100,000 and very excited to hear what Dee Dee has to say. So I don't want to talk a little bit, I don't want to go into details about DCFempreneur because I think that during the course of this program you will get to know me. Probably even more than most others, because I will be sharing intimate details about my plans to grow DCFempreneur as part of this experience. You know, even though I'm the founder of DCFempreneur, I fully intend to participate. So you're going to hear me talk about, you know, my business plan. You'll hear me talk about my vision. I really liked the pre-work. I thought it was fantastic. I hope everybody had a chance to do that. So without further ado, I want to introduce Dee Dee. So she is a founding member of DCFempreneur, and so is Denise. But what makes Dee Dee really, really qualified for this, to lead this mastermind today is because not only has she participated in a variety of masterminds herself, but she's also led them. And so I have asked her basically to run this entire program for DCFempreneur, and she will probably be leading some of others as well. So we are kind of coming together all as one to kind of do the same, you know, we launched all of our business essentially without this blueprint. Or maybe we had a little bit of a blueprint, but now we're needing to revisit it for whatever reason. Maybe we're changing our niche, or maybe we're going back and saying we want to change something about our business, or we want to really hone in on a particular audience, or really learn how to be profitable. Because, you know, as the IRS will agree, what makes a business is being profitable, right? Until then, it's a hobby. So we're going to learn today how to essentially make our businesses sustainable and profitable. And I think Dee Dee is incredibly qualified to do that since she has already done it for herself. And so her business is called Fit to Profit. And she's going to talk a little bit about her background, how she started her business, and then we'll go right into what she calls a grounding exercise.
Okay.
Thank you, Dee Dee.
Thank you. I won't spend too much time on speaking about myself and why I'm here and my experience, just because I want it to be more interactive and where I'm going to be sharing most of my story, success stories, struggles, and things like that all throughout the presentation as examples of what is going to be beneficial for you to really apply in your business and how to iterate and how to make changes, necessary changes in your business plan. But I'm super passionate about really supporting women business owners to create financial independence. My vast background has been brick and mortar businesses. I've had salon businesses, restaurant businesses. Prior to that, my corporate life, I was an executive recruiter for Accenture. I don't know if you guys have heard of them, sure. But I recruited many high-level professionals prior to that. And with the intention to fit to profit, as you can already imagine, like fit, like what does that really mean? What I really want to share that fit to profit, meaning that whatever it is that you do, you have to be fit physically, mentally, spiritually, and also emotionally, but also financially too, when it comes to business. So that's fit, that's the fit part of the business, and profit, meaning if you can really hit those milestones, and obviously profit or revenue is inevitable. Like you just have to be successful if you have all the right formulas. So I'll share the rest of the story, but that's why I'm here. That's how I all started. All of my experience up until this point has been from all of those areas, right? Corporate recruiting, owning my own businesses, and now this is my other virtual business. So altogether, I've been in business for about 12 years. Like I've been working for myself for about 12 years. Since I don't even know how old I was, but like in my 20s. So let's get started. And to go into the model of what I like to share is taking the time to really ground down together. Part of my background, I know we share that, is fitness, meaning like really taking the time for yourself and the really grounding down, whether we call it quiet time or meditation, whatever you may say. But I'm going to take us through just a few minutes of just taking it down, getting ourselves centered before we get started. So for the next 90 days together, there are going to be moments where you're going to go sideways. You're just going to be like, what is this? Why am I even a part of this? Why do I have to call her every day? Know that on everything that you're doing, you decided to come here today because it was your choice, right? Like you want to take something from this session so you can do something with it. And my intention is to give you as much as I can in the time we have and the time we have together in the next 90 days to have you achieve some type of goal or something that you are going to set out. Hence, that's why you got the pre-work you got. You had a moment to really look and see, okay, wow, do I really, like how much do I really want to work? Because I guess we really glorify the fact that, oh my gosh, we have to work this many hours and things like that, but it's not why you are wanting to start your business or why you are in your business in the first place. So manage your mind, okay? Like there are going to be stuff that's coming up. Yes, acknowledge your stories or whatever it is that you're hearing, the other voice, and keep on moving forward. Right now, the whole point is to really stick with the plan that you said that you are going to do the next 30 days. And the focus being is get really clear on what it is that you want to do in your business, okay? So I'm going to give you just like a brief reminder of the outline that you got online. We are not going to go we're not going to use the outline and go line by line. That's the idea of just letting you know what we're going to be covering. By the end of the session, we would have covered everything on there. But the 4 categories I want you to really start thinking about is yourself, your client, your money, and your team. And the 2 focus areas for this workshop, I really want to hone in with both. This is both topics, which is your client and your money, right? Like, we spoke briefly about the self already, right? Like that is mindset that's ongoing from now until the end of your time, right? Your team can be very different. We can talk briefly about it, but what's important is what we need to talk about is your client because it relates to your product, it relates to your operations, and relate to your deliverable and all of that stuff. And the money mindset around why are you not making the money that you want to make, or why is it still a hobby? Like what is really happening, and just some barriers that you should be looking out and thinking about. Okay, so 2 areas. Although we're going to go all through 4: self, client, money, and team, but we'll focus on client and money. Okay, this is so we're going to start with the self, which is super personal, right? Like what are your values? Who are you? So for example, for Fit to Profit, friendship, freedom, and optimism, valor, truth, and teamwork. That's what we stand for. And before those actually became our company values, those were my personal values. So part of why those are the values is because that's who I am as a person. That's why you want to always create a business that is based on who you are as a person, so that way it's going to be your why ultimately, then at the end of the road, right? In relation to, you may have already thought about it because it's actually was part of your pre-work. So a couple of shares of like why did you want to start your business, or why did you start your values, and also has to be based on your why. So your why could be contribution, that's one of mine as well. My family's number one. So there is no way that I can work corporate ever because I can't take my daughter to preschool and be a part of the co-op program, things like that. So what is your other why? And then what does it really mean for you to work the work that you do, or do the work that you do? Do you want to leave behind a legacy? So really understand, or already have written out or think about what your goals are in relation to your values and your why. That is the connection. And oftentimes, when you get burned out, it's because you get lost and you forget why you started your business in the first place and who you are as a person. Like what is the most important thing for you? Why are you working so hard? I can tell you there are many times in my business before I made that $100,000, there were moments where like my coach would always tell me, why are you doing it? I'm like, you know my why. I'm like, I know your why, but do you know your why? Because you seem to forget. Because all the things you're doing right now has nothing to do with how you want to grow your business. You're really looking at the shiny objects. You just want to make that $1,000, or you're not thinking long term. And the reasons why I just want to start the conversation like this is because that's what we lose, the essence of the company and who we are as we grow bigger. And you probably have heard, like sometimes people lose their mission statement and things like that as they evolve, as they grow. But that's one thing that you really have to be diligent in really staying with is your core values and also your why, okay? And that's all I really want to talk about in terms of how you want to really, eventually it's going to really help you structure your business and your business model and how you want to deliver things. For example, because my why is my family, I want to be able to be there for them. So everything I do now is virtual. I literally can sit in the parking lot, which I literally did yesterday, taking clients' calls and being right next to the front door of my daughter's preschool just in case they call, things like that. So envision what it is that you want to have in your business and how can you make it possible. And that is going to really eventually help you to understand, okay, how should I deliver my services? Like I'm not going to go drive around town and meet people in person, right? Like that's why. Does that make sense, you guys? Okay, awesome.
How do you find your why? How do you even if you think that you know it, how do you really dig deep and find it?
So it's a great question. I can share ultimately my why, and that goes into what I was sharing, like it's gonna come up, my story's gonna come up. So ultimately, I suffered from depression and anxiety in my early 20s. At one point, I considered suicide, and really completely have lost myself in the process because I was running so many businesses, I was trying to make it. And I wasn't taking care of myself. Like I was doing everything that everyone else wanted me to do, which is my mom, because my mom was my business partner at the time and things like that. So I realized that by taking a step back, I realized that I was really doing everything for everyone else and not for me. And at the same time, when I decided, okay, I'm going to step away from my business and do what I need to do for myself, gave me the time to understand that what I really want is to have an impact in the world, and I don't know how it was going to be, but I never want anyone to have to go through what I was going through, right? Like the depression, the anxiety, the thoughts, like I was, you can imagine it. And at the same time, the turning point for me was the week of my wedding. I think I shared with a couple of you guys. The week of my wedding, my girlfriend took her own life. And again, that was another thing to remind me that there's another person that was going through what you were going through. You perhaps can be really helping that person or the next person so that when no one has to go through what you had to go through. So my why was right there, was really to really help people truly see themselves as the strong person that she is, and that it's possible to really do things your way and you don't have to listen to anyone and figure out the way on your own. Because the traditional way for me, getting a job and working a job was not the thing. So your why could be, how did you get here, right? Like there's no, I believe that there's no accident to why all of a sudden you're now teaching fitness yoga, and wanting to think about health and wellness and things like that. Why do you want to teach people to be more diligent online, things like that? There's a special reason. You want to protect, you want to help. But I can tell you from understanding my mindset about starting my business and talking to many of my clients, every single entrepreneur wanted to make a difference. That's why you started your business. So if nothing resonates with you, you don't know your why, start there. See if that lands. You want it to make the difference. Whether it's someone's kid's life or the brand of the business so they can do better, or whatever it is, you want to make a difference in the world. That's why you started your business. Otherwise, you would have been in a seat, in a cubicle. It doesn't really matter to you, right? You're making a paycheck. So usually for every entrepreneur, it's because you want to create impact in the world or make a difference in the world. Okay? Does that answer your question?
Spot on.
Awesome. All right, we're ready to move on to client. Okay, client, so write these questions down, please. Who is your client? So think your niche. What problem do you solve for your clients? What are their desires? Why are you the best person to help them with this problem? What is your offer? What are you selling? What product and services? Ultimately, what is the outcome your client will receive when they work with you? Is there an eraser here?
Yep.
Okay, so the formula for business, for every successful business, is your niche, right? You have to know who your people are, right? What problem do they have? Okay, so it's niche plus problem they have, right? Times your offer equals business.
Ooh, I like that.
Niche plus problem times offer equals business.
And be really good at it.
Yes, yes.
Explode.
Do you have a blog post or something on your blog where you talk about niche?
Well, that's one of your.
Not yet, but
Okay.
it's on
I
there.
have a blog post that I wrote, basically it was putting together multiple things of where I've seen it, and because I'm one of those very confused people, like where I think I understand something and then somebody will tell me something else and then now I'm really confused. And so I didn't understand the difference between niche and target audience, and so I wrote this blog about it. I can have Dee Dee check it to make sure I'm not
Yeah.
wrong.
Well,
but-
because it's general term that seems like you'll be talking about the same thing, but it actually depends on the context. You're talking about two different things. Because target audience is more like marketing language.
Yes.
Yes. Where niche is like more general. You're talking about the group of people that you actually serve. So
Well, one to help.
one to help
Okay.
and serve. I mean, that's how I say that.
I thought you were talking about niche as like what niche you would fill.
No, it's like your
Your
I
people.
know. The blog post is about the niche versus ideal client.
Okay.
Okay.
Sorry. See,
So
I'm
those are
even
all
confused
three
about my.
different? Okay.
Yes, they're all
Okay,
different.
Can you
Okay.
break that down just really quick?
Really
Because
quick.
I struggle with that too, because I say, this is my niche, but I'm like, oh, this is my target audience.
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay,
okay,
so
so
like
like
my
my
client.
so like my
Which one?
niche, for instance,
Yeah.
is like workflow processes,
Okay.
and then my target audience is real estate professionals.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So so the niche has to fit something within your target audience in order to develop what you can offer.
Okay, no,
that
wait a
target
second. I
audience.
thought niche was more about who they are. Wait, I'm making sure I
No, no,
understand.
go, keep going.
That's what I thought.
Okay, so I'm making sure, like, let's say Denise is my niche, right? So she's a female audience, she's a female entrepreneur, she's beautiful. She lives in
Beautiful women entrepreneurs.
No, they don't have to be beautiful. But like the niche is, okay,
that's
so
demanding.
female business owner. Right now, it's like they live in the DC area, and they are looking to grow their business to become like sustainable and profitable. And I also wrote as part of my niche that they are like college educated, and that I narrowed it down to like in their 30s and 40s. So I got really very specific, but I thought that's really what we were supposed to do, is be like crystal clear about who we are really wanting to work with.
So it's the same, but when you are when you're speaking using the word target audience, that is more of what you want to be thinking in a frame of marketing and using the right message, the right word. So along the line of what you're asking for, Denise, is you have to understand your target audience in a way that as if you can speak their words for them.
Okay, that's good, because I had a coach who said that. She says, this is your target audience because you affect their bottom line.
Yes.
They're going to listen to
You-
the bottom line, and they're going to hear what you say.
You know their problems almost better than they do themselves. That's why they're going to you.
But you have to learn.
Yes.
You have to learn what their problems are.
Yes. So I would say the niche, at least for us at Fit to Profit, are women business owners. But our target audience are health and wellness coaches. Health and wellness coaches are entrepreneurs.
Okay.
Okay? And then target audience depends on the context of if we are writing for that audience or not. Like, it's more specific. You're speaking to DCFempreneur, or you're speaking to people at BNI, right? Like, do you see that? Very two different groups of people.
Right.
And just think of target audience as a way of, like our jargon that we use in marketing. Like, that's what we use for marketing purposes. Okay? Awesome.
Do you have different messaging if you feel like you have different like targets? So if you feel like you have more than one, so like as an example, for me, so I know when it comes to teens that they need to understand about what it is that they're doing online and how it can affect them. And then when it comes
The parents.
to parents,
Right.
okay, it's a completely different audience. I'm trying to
Correct.
help them to resolve the conflict
Yep.
because they're
Yes.
not listening to what their kids are telling them is happening.
So
Okay.
do you see the example? Is that clear? Okay. It's the same niche. She wants to help people be more sensible online. Niche. Target audience. Depends who you're talking to.
Right. So sometimes I could be talking to a 5-year-old, I could be talking to a 20-year-old.
Exactly.
But, okay.
Okay. Awesome. All right. So how do we feel about this formula? If you get nothing else from this workshop,
Right.
this is going to make you that $100,000. Why I say that? No matter what problem you have in your business, it's going to come down to one of the three.
And how do you learn what problems do you solve? Like, do we need to do market research, or we just need to put ourselves in a position where we can listen to what they say that they really need?
Exactly. So if you are just starting out and if you don't have a clientele yet, market research for sure. Or just by how it's really most effective, if you think of whatever problem it is and ask those specific. Don't be vague. Just be like, hi, y'all writers, what problems do you guys have? You're not going to get the effective answer that you need. You can say, is it workflow management that you need? Copywriters, is that true? Then they'll be like, yes or no. Ask really specific questions if you are research marketing. Specific. Okay? Signing clients or get business, then you can really see a pattern in your business. Then you can start niching down like that.
Yeah.
Okay? And here's the interesting thing. It's going to eventually, when your business is big enough, it's going to go the opposite. So it's almost like big, small, big again, right? Because that's by the time that you're so known in the industry, you can basically serve everybody, right? Do you see that? So start wide to find your niche, and then eventually you can expand.
And you have more control that way, because as you develop your niche and then you want to expand, then you can offer from your first list of generalizations.
Correct. Exactly.
And kind of really specialize in those.
Exactly.
niches.
Because the one thing is niche again. You have to understand what your people want. What do they want, right? So the only way to know that is to really, Rhonda, one offer. Come down to one offer and see how well you do with that offer and get to really know your niche that way. And then from there, listen to them. What else do they need? Then you can go and expand. Okay, here's another offer, right? The offer problem. So that's how you get to know your niche. That's how you're going to be solving their current problems and being able to innovate and see what the next problem is going to be so that you can create another offer. Make sense? Okay.
Yeah, because eventually, if you start vague, no, not yet, but yeah.
You need the experience, work with them, and at the same time, slowly, if they are the ideal client that you want to continue working with, if you are able to give them the results, their business is going to do better, and they can afford more.
That's exactly what's happened to me.
So, you know what I mean?
mean,
It's like
it
believing
happens.
in yourself, believing in your client. Just like sometimes when Lisa comes to me and was like, Dee Dee, would you do this for X, Y, and Z? I'm like, Lisa, we got to believe in these people that they can make that happen before we bend any other way. Because same thing, you have got to believe that you can create the results for them now. Just like I have some clients too, be like, oh my gosh, I cannot afford that. Okay, cool. What do we need to do? What kind of plan we need to put in place so that way you can earn that money and we can put that into your projections for the next quarter so you can work with me.
But should there be a limit to that too? Because sometimes I feel that even when they say, okay, I just can't afford you monthly right now. So I'm like, okay, we can work on something. We work that out. But I need to know what is like my bare minimum because I can't just take peanuts.
Right. So
Mess up my
no, so before,
Undersell yourself. 'Cause
yeah,
then
so
people will
before,
think, why are you
what,
so cheap?
I don't want to go into that yet because it's definitely going to be the workshop, Charge Your Worth, but I just want to briefly answer your question there, is that ask them what can they do. Just don't go into like the negotiating, for them.
What can you pay?
What can you pay? If $2,000 retainer a month is too much, first of all, what are you looking to do and what can you afford?
Yep, that's exactly.
And then from there, then you can see, can I really do this? Otherwise, recommend them to Fiverr.com, like other people that can help them for less, right? So really take it in as an ultimate structure eventually, but when you're first starting out, I want to say be flexible. But even be flexible even when you're successful. Like right now, our business is doing really well. We're launching a couple of products. There are some clients that are really struggling because they are struggling. And I'm still being flexible, but that's the whole point of you having your own business in the first place. So you can do things for people. Remember, we are starting our businesses because we want to create the impact. So how much do you want to give, right? Will that make sense for you? If you're starting out, you haven't made that $100,000 yet, perhaps pro bono is not your thing just yet. But maybe, offering people like I wouldn't say discount, but like an incentive for maybe instead of being able to pay upfront, maybe they can pay you 60 days from, yeah, you know what I mean? Like being really flexible so you're allowing yourself and, your client the opportunity to work with each other. And together we can, thrive. Is writing that, I don't know, fixing that part of the website gonna get you a client? Or going networking, meeting people, is that going to get you money? This is what Lisa is saying.
Look at me, I'm like,
Again, I'm sorry.
is your task a revenue generating
Activity.
activity? Or I call it an income producing activity idea.
Get into that
Okay.
of when you do what in your business. Okay? If you are not making money or paying yourself, you need to figure out how to do that before you doing anything long-term related actions.
Oh, boy.
That's why you're not making money or as much money as you want.
I'm just not paying myself. I'm putting everything back into the business to grow it.
So we'll definitely talk about more about that next, which is money. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
when you say long-term related actions, what exactly, like, what do you say?
Okay, so I am looking to hire other coaches to work for me. And I'm looking to also revenue generating or within my projection and plans is to fill my one-on-one spots, which I only have a couple left, and then also my group program. Which one is more of a priority? Meeting someone who can be a potential client or versus meeting a partner, future partner? That's how you gauge, right?
What's the answer to that question? It seems like they're both important.
Yeah.
They are both important. One is right now, cash flow.
So
One is
one-to-one is better than potential partner?
So I'm saying specifically between the two tasks, one is more important because one is going to make me the money right now. I'm trying to fill my programs. That meeting I need to take.
Okay.
The one that I'm looking for the potential coach to work with me eventually in the future, that can wait.
Okay.
Gotcha.
But
Got
that could actually generate more money,
But not
ultimately.
immediately.
I
Yeah,
mean,
but
one
not
is
right now.
long-term, one's more short.
Yes, you have to make sure you do whatever is more short term and what is going to bring in the revenue right now first. That's revenue generating activity.
It's
Focus.
like filling up your pipeline for
Yes.
future business, like in real estate, right? Like
Yes.
you're nurturing those relationships now for, 3, 6, 9 months later when you're in that same position, and then you're just constantly filling that pipeline.
Yes. Yes.
Makes sense, yeah.
Exactly. Okay. So here is the next thing that I'm going to share. Is everyone math people in here?
Is everybody, no,
Math.
I'm a PC. Don't judge me. Don't judge.
Math or math?
Math.
Oh, I thought you said Mac.
Yeah.
Math. Numbers.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So along with niche plus problem times offer equals business, I do that intentionally because we are going to go into conversions. Okay?
Okay.
Conversions mean how many people, how many leads you have to come across for one of them to become a client.
Oh, I love this part. This is my favorite part.
And you have got to know your conversion rate. I don't
I've
care
done
what
it.
kind of business you're in.
I've done this
Especially
before, but I got away from it.
especially service-based. You have to know that, for example, you talk to 4 people, 2 people become your client. That's 50% conversion rate, right? Simple math. Okay? If you don't know your conversion rate yet, I would recommend 25%. You probably have heard 20%, which I think is a little too low. You have heard 30%, that's a little too high. From my experience, if you don't know your numbers yet, start at 25%.
So how do you start out? So like, let's say for someone who like doesn't have clients. I mean, I do, but
Yeah.
are you going to give us one to work with?
So if you don't know your conversion rate yet, use 25% as your conversion rate.
Okay, what I mean is like, let's say I need.
Okay, so let me give the rest of the formula and explanation and see if you still have a question.
Okay.
So conversion rate, that means how many people do you have, how many leads you have to convert them into becoming a one client with you, okay? If you don't know your rates yet, 25% is your conversion rate. So from the conversion rate, for example, I'm going to help you work backwards and reverse engineer because at the end of the day, that's how you're going to do it when you plan your business, okay? So for example, with that 25% conversion rate, let's say if you want 2 clients, 1 out of 3 people that you have strategy or discovery or whatever you want to call it in your business, consultations, 1 out of 3 of your leads is going to say yes to having a sales conversation with you. Okay, so it's a third. So let's say a random lead at a marketing or networking event you met 3 people, 1 person is going to say yes to coming on to a strategy call with you.
Isn't that 1 out of 4? 25%?
That's your conversion rate.
Oh, okay, I
Yes.
see what you're saying.
Yes.
We're gonna reverse
So,
it.
yeah, so from where, that's why I was like, is anyone math people? So from the 1 of 3 that said yes to you, 25 of those people that said yes to coming on to a strategy call with you become your client. Okay, so that's how you do your math. So, are we following? Yeah?
Yep.
I want to leave that there. So let's say if you want 2 clients and your conversion rate is 25%, how many strategy calls do you need to have to get that 2 clients? Yes. Does that make sense? Or should we do even simpler math? Let's do it. Let's have 1 client. So 1 client, 25% conversion rate. We want 25% conversion for 1 client times 4 strategy sessions, or I should say equals to convert to 1 client. But what I was saying earlier is 1 out of 3 people that asked, 1 out of the 3 people, the leads that you have, will say yes to a strategy session. So you have to take 4 times 3 is the number of leads you need for 1 client.
Okay, so we need 12 leads.
12
to get
leads.
4 strategy sessions.
Correct.
To get 1 client. So you basically need 12 leads.
Got it?
12 leads to get 4 calls, which will convert to 1 client. Okay. I'm so jealous you're drinking that.
Take that number times 3, that's the number of leads. You're going to take 12 or whatever the number is, depends on how many clients you want, divided by, for example, weeks of the month. 12 divided by 4. I know this was like, oh my gosh, I have to like find 12 people to get 1 client. You understand you're going to be working your business every single day, I hope. Or not, it's like you don't have to. But take 12 divided by 4 weeks, that's only 3 leads per week, y'all. If you can't do that, it's still a hobby. Okay? I'm not from Texas. And then follow up, email them and be like, hey, could we have a conversation?
Yeah.
You see what I mean? Know your numbers, take your numbers, plug it into your plan. When you are planning out, making sure that you're prioritizing and making sure that you're doing revenue generating activities. You cannot do any other, hear me out, you cannot do anything else if you are not up to par with your stats. If you want money, you have got to make sure that you hit all of your goals.
Told y'all I had the right person. I'm just saying. So just
Yes,
to,
Lisa. So it's not a traditional business plan. Trust me, I've written a traditional business plan before to get a loan for the restaurants and for, my salons before. It's very like, who are your people? How much do you want to pay them? How do you want to deliver them? Where do you see your company? It's all on paper, you guys. None of this is on there for how you're going to generate your business. It's fluff. So I'm not talking down on people with like traditional business plans and things like that, but you have to like business plan / action. Like this is the action piece.
so in an actual business plan, you will see all of those elements you talked about. Like you need to know who your niche is, you need to know their problems. That's like your market analysis. What are their desires, or what is why are you the best person to help? That's your unique value proposition. So if you figure all of these things out, you've done like 2/3 of your business plan.
Yeah.
Because all of those elements are part of it. And then, why are you the best person to help? That is your unique value proposition, but then you have an opportunity to go into traditional And I have templates for a business plan, but that's not the point.
SBA.com, .gov.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, yeah, but the
You
point
get it.
of really is that this is really the core part, I'm shutting up. This is really the core part of your business plan because this is the hardest part.
Okay, now you know what business is composed of. Niche plus problem times offer equals business. You know conversion. You know how you're going to get there. So what are the strategies? Do I go online marketing? Do I do Facebook ads? Do I do Google AdWords? Like, what do I do? So if you're starting out service-based professionals, 3 things: networking, speaking, sponsorships. 3 quickest way to money. And most networking events are free. Can you imagine signing up, I don't know, $3,000, $10,000, I've signed up $15,000 client, a free networking event. That's crazy. And there are like so many networking events. Okay?
But the best ones are DCFempreneur.
I love it.
And the food's good.
Yeah. Yeah. And speaking can be so many things. Speaking could be like this, right? Like this is, this is a marketing opportunity for DCFempreneur, for Fit to Profit, for all of you. That's why we did it, right? So people start getting to know you, you're launching businesses, everyone now knows that we have Alyssa and awesome Alyssa, that's what's happening. You're speaking in front of the group is different from networking and then getting that one lead and then sitting down with them one-on-one because you are in front of a group. If you can get in front of the group as often as you can, rather than just going networking, that's what you want to focus on. Okay, you want to be speaking to an audience that's more than one versus just, netting one little person, okay? Sponsorships could be many opportunities, for example, being a founding member with DCFempreneur, or I can share too, I'm a part of Awesome Women Entrepreneurs. I'm also a chapter leader for them, for the Alexandria group. I'm actually going to be facilitating a cohort experience with high risers next year. Things like that. Like, doesn't have for you to go to like an expo and buy a little box and sit there. I'm not a big fan of that. But it could be a sponsorship in that way. How can you get out there? And you can go back to the outline. This is the part where we talk about is part 3, 4, and 5 on the outline. Is how to maximize your reach, how you can really stand up as an expert, obviously standing in front of the group, and then communicating smarter, not harder. So what I'm talking about here covers all those 3 parts on the outline. So offline master, how I got to $100,000 is offline marketing. What that means is the 3 things I gave you: networking, speaking, and sponsorships. And I mean like be every freaking where.
And she is. Dee Dee
Every
is everywhere.
freaking where. Yeah. Of course, find your people too. Like, doesn't mean I go to BNI. No, you would never find me at a BNI.
You'll never find me to be an eye.
So,
Business networking.
international.
It's an incredibly aggressive business referral group.
Yeah.
I say that. That's the nicest thing I can say.
So, yes, master offline marketing. Why I say that? Because if you advertise on Facebook, Instagram, anywhere, Google, you may not have access to your list of people. You don't own your list. Whereas if you go out and you collect Lisa's email, you know Lisa's email. No one owns it. You own Lisa's email, and she agrees to be on your mailing list with
Girl,
you.
you don't own my email. I'm just kidding.
You don't own yours either, boo. Probably GoDaddy does or somebody.
That's true. GoDaddy does. Okay.
There you go. So you get the idea. You want to start, ultimately, build your own list. Build your own tribe. Through offline first, and then ultimately, eventually online when you are ready. If you have not made, I would say, $75,000 offline, you are not ready to go online. You don't have the cash flow to do anything online. I say that because you have to have served that many clients to get a clear message of who it is that you want to serve before you waste your money and trying to figure that out while you are paying for ads.
That makes me feel so much better.
Do you understand? I have clients who are about to hit 100 all offline. Offline. Then now they're graduating on doing stuff online. Even for myself too, I have been really hesitant on going online because I have a need to. Like, I like the people interaction. I like meeting with people. So and that's why it's important to understand that as a business owner, understand your core values, because the marketing strategies has to jive with you. But what I mean by that is you're like a introverted person. You may not care speaking in front of a big group, right? Like, and imagine if someone forces that on you, you know? So if you really don't care about meeting people online, please don't do that. You can meet people in person. But really master, your communication skills, like getting out there, look for organizations that you really believe in and keep going, like consistency. I can't say that enough. Going back to the same group and really learn about them to see, can I really be a part of this group? But to start off, you kind of have to try it on. Like, try it on and see what fits. And then at the end, stick with what works and really be consistent. Go to the same event, I want to say at least 3 times before you know if it is a fit for you or not.
I completely agree with that. Yep.
Yeah.
That's if it takes 3 times. I only took 1 time.
Wait. Oh, we sold her on the first one, girl.
Oh, the first one.
Yeah.
Well, no, not really, because you knew Melissa.
No, I knew Melissa from your first one.
Yeah.
The luncheon. I came to your founders luncheon, and I've never ever seen something like that.
But I
Yeah, and then you came to the reception.
She told me about the reception. I came back for the reception.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
That's
that's
awesome.
great.
Here.
Now the sky's the limit.
Conversion. That's better than 25%.
Yes. And that is going to get better as you get better.
Yeah.
As you get better at identifying your ideal client, your target audience, get more intimate with your niche, yes, that is going to be much higher. But that's where you want to start. If you don't know it, that's a good number to start with. Okay? Awesome. Yay. So ultimately, you want to build a list of your own people, right? Like people that, are your tribe, your community. Cool? All right. Ready to get to the money piece?
Yeah.
Yes.
I thought this is already the money piece. I feel like we already know.
Yeah. So the mindset around money.
Okay.
More so than, but this is how to generate money. But you're gonna have to deal with some crazies in your minds about money and making this, right? Like going to networking event, like doing the thing.
Oh yeah. That's why DCFempreneur.
And the sales calls and all of the things that you need to do in your business to generate the revenue. So it's going to be super customized and intimate, because this is what goes back really far in terms of like how you think about money. Okay. In general, how was money talked about when you were growing up?
Open.
Yeah, so write these questions down. This is for you to, it's reflection work.
Maybe we can share them in the group. Like, we'll write them down now, and then we'll take turns talking about it. Like, I'll post it one time, and then we can just share.
Yeah, and first and foremost, please, money is money. Take the emotions out of it. No emotions. It's just a tool.
Unless you don't have enough. And then there's a lot of stress.
Well, you need to find other tools. There are other tools. One of the coaches that told me this once when I first started out too, I made no money. It's so true though, that you never run out of money. You run out ideas how to make money.
Really? Well, I'll tell that to the bill collectors.
Yeah, well, there's a way.
I mean, it's not that bad for me. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm just saying,
Yeah.
the old money talks and bullshit walks.
Yes, exactly. So, and this really works for me in my money stories, and why I choose to add this on to part of the business plan is I learned my money stories after the fact where I was stalling in my business. So I wanted to give it to you now, because you need to start working on it now. is treat the money as if it is a person. It really, really resonated with me because here's the thing, right? Like when you're a spender, you really don't care, right? The minute you have the money, you just want to spend it,
That's right.
right? Like you just want to get rid of it, right?
Not me, man.
But,
I'm loving the money. I'm
Yeah.
talking to it. Singing a song.
So, and the avoiders would also, like, they don't care about their bills. Like, they would just push, you know, it under, like, the newspaper, and, like, they would not care about it. But treat money like it is a loved one, meaning, like, let's say if you said that you were going to do something, meaning if you said that you were going to pay this bill, pay it. Stay in integrity with it. That has everything to do, that is going to get you down to you getting down yourself, and that is going to actually cut into your confidence because you are not keeping your word. If you borrow money from anyone, pay back, or at least communicate that, you know, what it is that you're doing just so that you can pay them back, as if it is a person that you really truly respect. Yes, it is a tool, but you want to respect it because ultimately it's your heart earning money, right? Like it's your soul, your heart, like everything that you have to earn that. So pretend it is like a person. That really resonates with me. It may not resonate with you. That's okay. Write it down, and we'll, like, if you have more questions, ask me. And then here's just, you don't have to write these down, but you can relate some of the common money stories that entrepreneurs have. Money is hard to make. Oh, that's a big one. Right? That's a mindset piece. If you think it's hard to make, it's always going to be hard to make because you're going to make it hard to make. It's, you know, you're already thinking that it's going to be hard, so it's going to be hard, like, no matter what. You probably have heard of this. Money doesn't grow on trees. That
My
one.
dad used to say that.
It takes money to make money. Semi-true, and here's my story. I had spent close to $750,000 to start my brick and mortar businesses. And at the end, we walked away with barely nothing. We basically almost lost it all, right? I started this business with $200. Yeah, and it's virtual, like there's no overhead whatsoever. And I'm making, oh my gosh, so much more than I could ever imagine, just starting with very little money. So it is just a belief of, like, it takes money to make money.
It's true, isn't it?
It's crazy. So, but that was my mindset back then. It's like, yes, we have this money, Mom. We're going to make a lot of money. No, we didn't. So I was almost like I broke out of that and was like, wait, no. Like, I know so many stories where people start from nothing and they can create an empire of business. So how do those people do that? So it's a mindset. It's a money mindset that we're stuck with because how we were trained, what we were taught, and what we hear so much, we repeat it so much, it becomes your belief system around money. And that is actually how it's going to hold you back from making any money-related decisions in your business. For example, if you are a spender, recovered spender, like me, I can justify any expense going towards the business. If you are a savior, like you always wanted to save, you would never invest in yourself or your business, for example. Right? So, and you're stuck. There's funny with the energy of money is currency for a reason. It needs to flow. If you want to make money, you gotta spend the right money. Like, you have to really invest in the right things. Going back to, is it gonna solve my niche problem? It's gonna solve my offer problem? What is it? What's happening? Like, what am I using that investment for? Like, what am I doing? So really know, are you really stuck with making financial related decisions in your business? Write those problems down. Or what are you stuck with? Okay? And really get back to reflecting, oh my gosh, yeah, this is exactly how I was raised or how I think about money or my mindset around money. And how to really rewrite your stories is really seeing the reality as is, and that you're no longer attached to the stories that you had lived in the past. So for example, there's a money conflict always in my family. My mom likes to save. My dad likes to spend. So imagine that. So I grew up with like, okay, so I do a little bit of both all the time. When it's paycheck time, oh, we go out. Like we splurge, we spend on, like I did. I say we because my boyfriend. But we did that. And then when it's like, and it's drying and it's like I get weird with saving money and like I would put it away. I would save because that's what my mom taught me. And then once I save up to like $3,000, I take that $3,000 and spend it. So things like that, how you were raised and how you were exposed to money being spent and like that within your family is really your way of handling your money right now. You probably could relate. And see if it's really beneficial for you to handle your business that way. Is it really healthy? Chances are, if you are not making as much as you would like yet, it has everything to do with your mindset around money. And your values. It's somehow related, but oftentimes you can't see it yet. And some of the examples that I've used are what I could be very simple examples, but there are other underlying stories that is deeper than that. Yeah. So going back to remember being open to taking it on and really trying it on and see, you know, if it resonates with you and to see if it works for you. Awesome. This is your team. Yes, you're like, I don't have any team. Right?
There's no I in team, but there's a me in team.
Yes. Okay. Right. Okay, so team doesn't have to be within your immediate business setting. Your husband is your team.
I don't have one of those.
Your friends, your family.
My dog.
Your dog, your neighbor. So really identify your support system. Who are they? Lean on them. Set boundaries, ask for help. Because how you practice these, the way of being here, this is how are you going to be leading your team when you actually have a team. Being able to call on them when you need to, you know, staying in integrity to do something when you say that you would, things like that. And ultimately being around or acknowledging your support system is what is going to really allow you the freedom and the time to have so you can focus on your business. Like, for example, my husband and I share a calendar at this point. Like, he knows when I have clients, like my clients' days, the office is closed. Like, it doesn't matter. Unless the building is burning down or something. Yeah, things like that. So really call on your team. Really know who they are and use them wisely. Lean on them until you have your actual, you know, staff and team. Cool? Questions? Here we go. We'll open it all up.